Hi everyone, welcome back to Plum Mashable. So for today's video we're going to be making some Tiny Trees Christmas tags. So let's go ahead and get to it. Okay, so I have finished all of my Christmas cards, which you will get to see on the 24th. I'm going to put them all up in one big video. But what I haven't done is made any Christmas tags because I went to wrap some presents and realised I was missing some. So what I thought I'd do, I've done tags before with all lawn fawn stuff. I thought this time I'd bring in my favourite card making thing of Christmas. It's the Tiny Trees Turnabout from Concord 9th. You've seen this, you've heard about it. Now I'm actually going to show you how it works and we're going to make something with it. So for the Turnabout stamps you will need a few things. You have to have a MISTI, it won't work without it. You also need to have the jig, and I didn't realise that when I bought it. So I made a mistake, that's on me, that's fine. I have now ordered one, but in the interim I have made myself my own little jig, which is basically just a 5.5 by 5.5 piece of paper, 5.5 inches, sorry. No, 5 3/4. Anyway, whatever it is, this thing here is 6 by 6. So it sits in the corner of my MISTI and I can use it to set myself up. Once you've got it and it's set up, it's actually not too bad, but I still do want the regular, like the proper one. And then all I've done is I have cut my cardstock to be sort of that 5 3/4. So when I put this down on my paper, you'll see I can sort of, I can see where the edges are, but I can put this sort of right there and it'll hold everything still. The other thing you'll need is just a little bit of tape, repositionable tape. So I'm going to start off with lining this up. I'm going to try and show you this. I have done this a few times. I haven't done it a lot. I'm not an expert yet, but I've kind of got the gist of this. You can see my stamp's really dirty, but we'll set it up together and then you'll sort of be able to get how this works. But the good thing is once you've set it up, you only have to set this up once. And because we're going to make a couple of different sort of backgrounds, this will work really well. So I'm just going to put my MISTI off to this. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to leave it here so you guys can kind of see. If I work it on here, you'll be able to see better. So with every Turnabout stamp, you get a little acetate sheet that has sort of the pattern on it. What you then need to do is grab your actual stamp off, and as you'll see in a second, it's a really big stamp. Like it feels rather large, or it looks rather large. And then what you need to do is you need to line this up. So the acetate will have this side up. You just need to spin this around. Sorry. The stamp goes downwards and you just need to line it up. Now I find the easiest way to do this is to kind of line up a couple and then you can sort of press it down and wiggle it just a little bit if you need to, but generally once you've got the first little bit it's not too bad. Then what you need to do is open your MISTI drawer up again, grab that jig that we made, and then I'm going to put it so that my little one's in the corner. I'm just going to use my magnet, not to hold it in, but just to sort of push it into place, because at least then I know it's a little bit sturdy. And what you do is you put your lined up sheet here, and you line it up with your triangles, or your lines that I've done here. Like I said, I didn't buy the jig, I made this on my own. The jig will have this all done for you, but it's basically just a cross in the line. I'm just lining that up as best I can. There we go. Once it's in the right spot, close the MISTI door. You've now picked up the stamp. And remove the acetate sheet. And we're done. And we're done. So then we can start actually stamping with it. So I'm just going to put a little bit of repositionable tape on the back. And I'm going to line this up. You can put it straight down in the corner if you want. I'm happy with it just being slightly off. Because it's in the same spot and it's on repositionable tape, it's not going to go anywhere. But if you're a little bit worried, you can always just put a little bit more on here so it doesn't go anywhere, because you really don't want it to move once it's down. Here we go. And then for this first one I'm going to go really simple. We're just going to do some plain kind of Christmas colours. So I'm going to grab pine needles, I'm going to grab twisted citron, I'm going to grab candied apple, and I'm going to grab some vintage photo. I know the vintage photo seems weird, but I think it will look great. And then all you need to do is kind of remember that as you stamp these, they kind of move around, so I would never put the two greens next to each other. They'll still end up being near each other, but they won't be next to each other. So I'm going to start off with that Twisted Citron. Things that I have learnt: if you push down too hard on this, you will get ink in between, and that ink can then stain your piece of cardstock. So you're better to ink this up and stamp it twice than you are to over ink it, press really hard, because then you'll get down into those crevices and you don't want to. So I'm just making sure that's inked up. The good thing is the Misty will allow me to double stamp this, so if we have to, that's what we'll do. Just grabbing a cloth. I'm not putting too much pressure on this because, like I said, I don't want to get the stain in the middle. We'll have a look. Yeah, not quite there. I just push down a little bit, but I am going to double stamp this, so I'm going to go ahead and do the second layer. That time I was being a bit more specific on the actual trees. Alright, and then from there, what you do is you take your magnet off, you spin it round, so we go from 1 to 2. Clean this off. Because I'm using a darker colour, I'm not worried too much about getting it 100% clean, but just a fair chunk clean. Then we'll come in with the brown and we'll repeat the process. I'm actually happy with that stamp, so I'm not going to go double for that one. And I'm going to clean it off. Grab the, spin it round. I always try and remember to spin it round before I ink it up, because that way I know I've done it. And then we go ahead with the pine needles. And this is honestly the hardest part of a turnabout is, once you've got it lined up, lining it up is probably the hardest part. But it's the inking. The inking just takes a little while, just because you've got to be a little bit careful. It just makes me happy. It just makes me happy. So I've got a little smudge here from the green. That's okay. I'm not worried. You can't really tell. And then we're going to do the same thing again with the red. And there you have it. There's your little turnabout. That's how simple this is to make such an absolutely stunning background. And what I'll do is I'll do a couple more and then we'll come together and make these into tags. So I'm just going to remove that from the cardstock, from the jig. Just being gentle, just so we don't sort of tear it or bend it. I'll get rid of the tape afterwards. And I'm going to go ahead and do a next one. So the next one I'm going to do exactly the same for 3 of the layers. So I'm going to do this one's in reds and greens, but then I'm going to add in a gold. So line that up there. I'm going to do this super quick. I'm going to switch out the pine needles for Rustic Wilderness. I'm going to switch out Twisted Citron for Mowed Lawn. So I'm just sort of coming the greens together. I'm leaving Candied Apple. And I'm getting rid of the vintage photo because I'm going to come in with some embossing ink and we'll put an embossing one. And we'll go ahead, we'll do that. And I'll be right back. Oh, now hold on. Sorry, one thing. If you're going to do embossing, powder it up after you've done the inks. Because that way the powder doesn't sort of interact with the inks. We can make sure the ink's dry and then we can do the powders all together. So again, I'm going to go through and do that and I'll be right back and we'll do the embossing. Alright, I gave that a quick blast with the heat tool just to try and dry it a little bit. Once you put the powder down, it should solve the problem. So I'm just double checking that I've spun that. Yes, I have. So I'm just coming in with my powder, putting that all over. very looking forward to getting my new powder tool. It's coming very soon. I cannot wait to get it, and I cannot wait to share it with you, because I'm kind of overdoing it this way. But anyway, then we're going to grab our embossing ink, and this is exactly the same way we just did the other one. You can kind of get an idea if you've missed something. I think that looks pretty good. So we're going to take that out, take it off the jig, cover it in gold embossing powder. Just going to move the misty out of the way for a sec. Just because this is such a big thing, rather than using my, oh, what's the word I want? Coffee filter. I'm just going to use a piece of white paper. I'm just working my way around. Now see, I've got a little bit here, so I'll come and knock that off in a minute with a paintbrush. I figured there'd be some places where I had not forgotten, but hadn't reached with the powder. I'm just having a good look, making sure everywhere that I have stamped with the embossing powder, embossing ink, I've got the powder. And I've got myself a little embossing powder brush, and I just knock off anything I don't want. So it's really easy. You just grab hold, like just knock it off. Yep, happy with that. Now it's not perfect, I'm not going to lie, but it's pretty damn good. So what I'm going to do now is I want to do two more. I want to do one in a completely non-Christmas kind of colour. I want to do a teal and a pink. And then I want to do one, the good thing about this is you don't have to do all four. Like 4 look fantastic. But I want to try doing one in all embossing powder. So I'm going to go ahead and do both completely off camera. I'm going to cut to it and I'll be back to show you the results. Okay, so my plans changed just a little bit. I wanted to do one whole one using all embossing powder. The problem I had was that it dried too fast for me to be able to do it. It's a really hot kind of day here, so everything was drying really fast. So I just went with just the one. I think it looks better anyway. But I did want to try white pigment ink on a darker background. So this is on Gina K cardstock. Bit of powder on the side. I'm going to let that dry thoroughly before I touch it, because I don't want any possible chance of that smudging. So that'll be the last one I play with in a minute. And the other one I did was this one. And I actually really considered just doing 2 colours, because I actually thought this is Salvage Patina, Kitsch Flamingo, some rose gold embossing powder, and then this is actually brushed corduroy. I forget how pretty that colour is, because that's lovely. This is also the first one that I can sort of see I've pushed too hard, but I actually kind of like it there. And the bonus of what we're about to do with the tags is that you're not using the whole background anyway. So I'm going to end up with 4. So I've got the green and the red trees with the gold, I've got the teal and the pink trees with the rose gold, and then I've got the brown and the green and the red. I actually am leaning, oh crap, whoops, I missed a whole tree. I wonder if I can fix that. How did I miss a whole tree? I do know how I missed a whole tree, but if it doesn't work, that's fine, because I can just not use that bit. I don't think it'll stick now. Yeah, I'm too late. That's all right. I just won't use that bit. It'll be fine. I'll just hit that with the heat tool though, so that it is dry. It is, sorry, not powdery anymore. Nope, no I won't, because my heat tool's too hot. Wait for it to cool down. I'll come back to that. I'll come back to it. We'll play with these 2 first. These were the 2 that I liked better anyway. I actually think I like the brown one as much as the gold one, if not exactly the same. So anyway, so what I've got now is some green and red cardstock. This is just Kaiser Craft cardstock. So I'm going to use my Uniquely Creative circle dies. So I've got my nesting stitched and my nesting scalloped. My stitched ones are going to be what I cut out the trees out of. So I'm going to grab, I think, I'm just going to sort of see how many I can get out of this. If I'm clever, I'll be able to get 4. I should be able to get 4 out of both. So I'm just going to grab my washi tape. I'm going to go ahead and cut these out. If the other ones are dry, I'll do them too so that I can just cut straight to it, because sitting here watching me cut circles is going to be pretty boring. I'm going to go ahead and cut these ones out with the circle. So this is the 1, 2, 3, the 4th circle from the middle, and I will be right back. Alright, so I've got all of my circles cut out while I was going there. Whoops, sorry, I've missed some circles. While I was going, I kept going with my die cuts because I figured I'd just die cut everything and then it's just ready to assemble. So I used, to cut out all these scallops, or scallops, however you say it, used the 4th smallest, sorry. So these are just going to sit, you'll see in just a sec, just perfectly in here. So you've just got that little edge around the outside. And these are going to be so easy to assemble. So I'm going to have the red and the green ones. I've got 4 of these, and I deliberately cut 4 of the green scallops. So I've got 2 of the ones with the gold and 2 of the ones with the brown on the green. So you get 2 of those. And then I've got 2 of the ones with the gold and 2 of the ones with the green on the red. Does that make sense? Whew, took me a minute to get my brain to work then. So you sort of got the opposite sides of it. Now, depending on what kind of cardstock you've got, is what side you'll use. For me, I'm going to try and put except for this one, because I kind of tore it a little bit, I'm going to put the untextured side on the back because it's easier to write on. But generally speaking, it's going to go that way. I also cut out some of the teal to go with my pink one. So this is actually called Mint. It's also from Kaiser Craft. And I'm going to put it together the same way. So we're going to have the little mint bit sort of sticking out behind that one. And then the other one I did, because it was the blue, I wanted to use a little bit of silver behind it. I just thought it would make it look really cool. So what I did is I put the silver with the blue, and then I cut out the same sized scallop in the same piece of blue, and I'm just going to back them onto each other first and then mount it so that it'll be silver on one side and blue on the other. So this is another one where I'm going to cut, because obviously sitting here watching me glue is going to be pretty boring. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I've got all of my tags here. So the last thing we just need to do is just add a hole and some string. So same thing, I'm going to do it once, and then I'm going to go off camera and do it because it's just much easier. Anywhere on here is fine. You can just punch your hole, little hole there. If you want to, you can put a ring, like a reinforcer. This is just a, what's it called? A Crocodile hole punch. And I'm just going to then match it up with whatever colour's on the back. I think I'll do that colour string on the front. So this is Hemp Cord. I got this from Hobby Hoppers. Ooh, where's the end? I never can find the end. Aha! Let's just cut a little bit of the string. I'm debating whether I want to put in another colour. I think I do. So this is an oldie but a goodie. This is Kmart, not Kmart, Kiki K twine, and I have tons of the stuff. So I'm just going to add it in with the green and the red. So it'll have a green and gold and a red and gold. I know my green doesn't quite match my... Come on. Doesn't quite match my cardstock, but it's pretty close. There we go. This is the way I always do little tag ones. So I'll put them together, feed it through, and then just do a little loop-de-loop and then cut off the excess. I don't mind wasting a little bit of it, because that way at least I know I've got A, the right length, but B, it's tight enough and it looks good. Go, so I might cut that about there-ish, so I'm not actually wasting too much. Hopefully I can get it to cut nicely. I didn't, but anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and do all the strings, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I now have 15 little tags. Like, this took a while. I'm not gonna tell fibs. This took me a little while, but to have 15 of them, and I know that they're all pretty well perfect, and I can just grab one and go. If I don't use all of them this year, that's fine. I probably won't do 15 gifts. But I've got a bunch of different colours here, so I already have some tealish kind of wrapping paper, so those ones are perfect. I've already got some reds and some greens, so these ones are perfect, and I know I've got some blue in my cupboard, so these ones are perfect too. Just so everyone knows, I used the Hemp Cord with some Kiki K one here and here. This is just a Kmart cord. I just used plain white because I didn't have silver, so I just figured, well, white, pardon me, would do because it matches up with the trees. And this one is the Hemp kind of brown cord, and then a Kmart teal twine. Surprisingly enough, I didn't have any pink twine. Who would have thunked it? So I went with that, but had I had pink, I would have done pink on that twine instead of the teal colour, but that's okay. But there we go, 15 cute little tags. Obviously you don't have to make 15, you could make 4 and that would be fine. You just do one of them instead of all of them. But I'm really happy with my day's work. I think I've done really well. You could of course stamp something on the back. I'm going to leave mine blank because I like being able to write little personal messages, but if you have a stamp set like Say What Pets or the Tiny Tags, a couple of tiny tag ones from Lawn Fawn, they'd be absolutely perfect. But basically you just need something that says to and from. Job done. I was going to put like extra trees on the front here, but I actually think these are just fine the way they are. They don't need anything more. But if you want to do maybe 1 or 2 as opposed to the 15, you could sort of add the extra trees that come with this kit on the front as well. Would make a really nice focal image with just like a Merry Christmas. Would just be gorgeous. So that's it for this video. I hope you did enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching and hanging around with me. I know this one was a long one, but I do appreciate you hanging around. If you did enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for plenty more Christmas fun in the next couple of weeks. I hope you guys have an absolutely awesome weekend, and I will catch you again in my next video. Sending lots of huggles. Bye!